The summer heat pushed down on the small town of Pine Creek like a heavy blanket. The air above the cracked sidewalk shimmered, and most folks stayed inside with their fans and cold drinks. But 10-year-old Lily had more important things on her mind than the heat. She stood at the corner of Maple and Oak looking down at her broken bicycle. The front wheel was bent badly, the chain had come loose, and one of the pedals hung at an odd angle. Lily had saved up for months to buy this bicycle, from a yard sale. It wasn't new or fancy, but it had been hers, her ticket to freedom in a world where she didn't have much to call her own. "Come on," she whispered to herself, grabbing the handlebars and starting to push. The wheel made an awful scraping noise against the frame. 3 blocks to go before she reached Wilson's Auto and Bicycle Repair. Lily lived with her mom and grandmother in the apartment complex on the east side of town. Her mom worked 2 jobs, morning shifts at the diner and evening shifts at the grocery store. They made ends meet, but there wasn't money for extras like bicycle repairs. Still, her mom had taught her that problems didn't fix themselves. "If you need help," her mom always said, "you have to be brave enough to ask for it." So here she was, pushing her broken bicycle down the hot sidewalk, working up the courage to ask for help. Wilson's Auto and Bicycle Repair sat at the end of Main Street, a faded blue building with big garage doors that stayed open in the summer. Cars in various states of repair filled the lot, and the sound of tools and a radio playing old songs spilled out onto the street. Lily paused at the edge of the property, her heart beating fast. She had passed by this place hundreds of times but had never gone inside. The shop belonged to the world of grown men with grease-stained hands and loud voices, not the world of a quiet girl with worn sneakers and a broken bicycle. "Just ask," she told herself. "The worst they can say is no." Taking a deep breath, she pushed her bicycle toward the open garage doors. The cool shade inside was a relief after the burning sun. It took a moment for her eyes to adjust to the dimmer light. The smell of oil and rubber and something metallic filled her nose. 3 men were working on cars. One was underneath a big truck, only his legs visible. Another was leaning over an open hood, and the third, an older man with gray hair at his temples, was writing something on a clipboard. None of them noticed her at first. Lily stood there, shifting her weight from one foot to the other, wondering if she should speak up or just leave. Just as she was about to turn around, the older man looked up. "Well, hello there," he said, his voice deep but not unkind. "What can we do for you today?" All the words Lily had practiced on the walk over suddenly disappeared from her mind. The other mechanic looked up now too, and she felt her cheeks grow hot under their gaze. My bicycle," she finally managed, pointing to the bent wheel. The older man set down his clipboard and walked over. He wore a dark blue work shirt with Ray stitched on the pocket. Crouching down, he examined the bicycle, his hands gentle as they turned the bent wheel. "That's quite a problem you've got there," he said. "Happened today?" Lily nodded. "I was riding down Hill Street and hit a pothole. I fell off, and when I got up it was like this." "You hurt anywhere?" Ray asked, looking up at her with concern in his eyes. "Just some scrapes," Lily said, showing her bandaged elbow. Her grandmother had cleaned it up and put on the bandage before leaving for her doctor's appointment. Ray nodded and went back to examining the bicycle. "Frame looks okay, that's good. Wheels bent pretty bad though. Chains come off too, and this pedal," he wiggled the loose pedal, "needs to be tightened up." Lily watched him, gathering her courage for the real reason she had come. When Ray stood up and brushed off his hands, she blurted out the words before she could lose her nerve. "Sir, I don't have a father. Can you guide me fix my bicycle?" The question came out in a rush, and as soon as the words left her mouth, she wished she could take them back. It sounded silly now, childish. Something changed in Ray's face. The professional politeness softened into something else. He looked at her more carefully now, not just at the bicycle. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lily," she said. "Lily Chen." "Well, Lily Chen," he said, "that's an interesting request. Most folks just want me to fix things for them." The other mechanic had gone back to his work, but Lily could tell he was still listening. Her face felt hot with embarrassment. "I don't have much money," she admitted. but I can learn quick. My mom says I'm good with my hands. Ray studied her for a long moment, and Lily was sure he was going to say no, to tell her to come back with her mom or just leave the bicycle and pick it up when they could pay for repairs. Instead, he surprised her. "Tell you what," he said. "I've got a car I need to finish up. Should take me about 20 minutes. If you want to wait, I can show you a few things about bicycle repair after that. How's that sound?" Relief and excitement rushed through Lily. "That would be great. I can wait. I can help too if you want." Ray smiled, the corners of his eyes crinkling. "For now, just wait over there by the bench. There's a water cooler if you're thirsty. 20 minutes, okay?" "Okay," Lily agreed, wheeling her bicycle to the bench he had pointed out. It sat along the wall of the garage, away from the cars, but where she could still watch the mechanics work. As she sat down, Ray called, over to the other mechanic. "Hey, Tom, you got a problem with me taking a bicycle break after the Carter job?" Tom glanced over at Lily, then back at Ray. "Your time, boss," he said with a shrug. But there was a small smile on his face, too. Lily sipped cold water from a paper cup and watched Ray work. His movements were sure and steady, never rushed. He talked with Tom as they worked, something about carburetors and timing belts. Words that meant nothing to Lily but sounded important. The 20 minutes stretched to 30 as Ray finished up the car, but Lily didn't mind. It was cooler in the garage than outside, and it was interesting to watch the mechanics work to see how they solved problems. Finally, Ray wiped his hands on a red rag and walked over to her. "Ready for your first bicycle repair lesson?" Lily jumped to her feet. "Yes, sir." "First thing," Ray said, wheeling her bicycle to an empty workspace, "is you can call me Ray. Sir makes me feel old." "Okay, Ray," Lily said, testing out the name. "Second thing," he continued, flipping the bicycle upside down so it rested on its seat and handlebars, "is there's no such thing as a hopeless case when it comes to bicycles. Almost anything can be fixed with the right tools and know-how." He looked at her then, his expression serious but kind. "That true about most things in life, by the way. Remember that." Lily nodded, feeling like she was being given an important secret. As Ray began showing her how to check the bicycle frame for damage, she realized that today might turn out to be much more interesting than she had expected. For the first time since her bicycle broke, she felt a spark of hope. Not just for the bicycle, but for something else she couldn't quite name yet. Ray pulled a rolling stool over and motioned for Lily to come closer. "First rule of fixing anything," he said, "is understanding what's broken and why." Lily nodded seriously, watching as Ray's weathered hands gently turned the bicycle wheel. "See how this rim is bent? That's from hitting that pothole. When metal gets bent like this, we need to either straighten it out or replace it. Since you're on a budget, let's try straightening it first." He reached for a tool that looked like a wrench but had a different shape at the end. "This is a spoke wrench," he explained. "The wheel is held together by these thin metal rods called spokes. They connect the rim to the hub. That's this middle part. And they're what keeps the wheel round and true." "True?" Lily asked. "Good question. When a wheel is true, it means it's perfectly round and doesn't wobble when it spins. Your wheel here isn't true anymore because the rim got bent. But we can adjust the tension on these spokes to pull the rim back into shape. At least mostly." Ray demonstrated how to use the spoke wrench, turning it slightly on different spokes. Tightening a spoke pulls the rim in that direction. Loosening does the opposite. It's like a delicate balancing act. He spun the wheel slowly. "See how it wobbles? We need to find where it's furthest out of line and work from there." Lily watched, fascinated by how such small adjustments could affect the whole wheel. After a few minutes, Ray handed her the spoke wrench. "Want to try?" Her eyes widened. "What if I make it worse?" "Then we'll fix it again," Ray said simply. That's how learning works. You try, you make mistakes, you fix them, you get better. Hesitantly, Lily took the wrench and positioned it on a spoke where Ray pointed. "Gentle now," he guided. "Just a quarter turn." She felt the resistance as the spoke tightened, amazed that her small hands could make this change. Ray showed her how to check. her work by spinning the wheel again. "Look at that. It's a little better already," he said. For the next 15 minutes they worked together on the wheel, taking turns with the spoke wrench. Ray explained each step patiently, never rushing even when Lily needed him to repeat something. Tom walked by at one point giving them a curious glance. "Teaching the next generation, Ray?" "Someone taught me once," Ray replied with a shrug. Lily felt a warm glow of pride. She wasn't just some kid in the way. She was the next generation of bicycle fixers. The wheel wasn't perfect when they finished, but it was much straighter than before. Ray seemed pleased. "Not bad for a first try," he said. "Next, let's look at that chain." He showed her how the chain had jumped off the gears and how to put it back on properly. His hands were stained with grease and oil from years of mechanical work, but they moved with surprising gentleness. "The trick with chains," Ray explained, "is keeping them clean and properly lubricated. A dry chain wears out faster and makes pedaling harder." As they worked, Lily gathered her courage to ask a question that had been on her mind. "How did you learn to fix things?" Ray's hands paused for just a moment before continuing their work. "My grandfather," he said. "He had a repair shop about half the size of this one. I spent most afternoons there after school, watching and helping where I could." "Was he patient like you?" Lily asked. Ray chuckled. "Not exactly. He was more of the figure-it-out-yourself type. But he'd always check my work when I was done, and if I did good, he'd give a little nod. That nod meant more than words." He looked at Lily. "Everyone learns differently. I figure showing and explaining works better for most folks." They moved on to the loose pedal next. Ray showed her how to use a wrench to tighten the bolt that held it to the crank arm. "You've got to get it nice and tight," he explained. "Your whole weight goes on these pedals when you're riding. If they're loose, they can break at the worst possible time." Lily tightened the bolt with all her strength, her tongue sticking out, slightly in concentration. When she finished, Ray checked her work with a gentle tug on the pedal. "Perfect," he said. "You've got a good feel for it." The compliment made Lily stand a little taller. No one had ever told her she had a good feel for mechanical things before. As they worked, the afternoon sun shifted, casting long shadows through the open garage doors. Lily suddenly realized how much time had passed. "I should probably get home soon," she said reluctantly. "My mom will be wondering where I am." Ray nodded. "We've made good progress today. The wheel's much better, chains back on, pedals tight. There's still more we could do to get this bicycle in top shape, though." He hesitated, then added, "If you wanted to come back tomorrow, we could work on it some more." Lily's heart leapt. "Really? You wouldn't mind?" "I take lunch around noon," Ray said. "If you came by then, we could work for half an hour or so." "I'd like that," Lily said, unable to keep the excitement from her voice. Ray helped her flip the bicycle right side up again. "Try riding at home, but take it easy. That wheel's better, but not perfect yet." Lily swung her leg over the bicycle and tested it in the parking lot. The wheel still wobbled slightly, but it was rideable. The chain stayed on, and the pedal felt solid under her foot. "It's so much better," she exclaimed. "Thank you, Ray." Ray waved away her thanks. "You did half the work yourself. Remember that." As Lily prepared to leave, Ray disappeared into the back of the shop. He returned a moment later with a small bottle. "Bicycle chain oil," he explained, handing it to her. "Put a few drops on each link of the chain tonight if you can. It'll help. Things run smoother." Lily took the bottle carefully as if it were a precious gift. "How much do I owe you for this?" "Consider it part of the bicycle repair education package," Ray said with a wink. "No charge." Lily tucked the bottle safely in her pocket. "I'll be here tomorrow at noon," she promised. "I'll be here," Ray replied. As Lily pedaled away, she felt different somehow. Her bicycle wasn't completely fixed yet, but she had helped repair it with her own hands. And tomorrow, she would learn more. The ride home was easier than the walk to the shop had been. The slight wobble in the wheel reminded her of each adjustment she had made with the spoke wrench. The smooth action of the chain made her think of Ray's patient explanations. When she turned onto her street, Lily saw her grandmother sitting on the small balcony of their apartment, fanning herself in the evening heat. She waved excitedly, Look, Grandma, my bicycle's fixed, well, almost fixed. Her grandmother smiled and waved back. Come tell me all about it. Lily couldn't wait to share every detail of her afternoon. How Ray had shown her how to true a wheel and fix a chain. How she was going back tomorrow to learn more. How she had discovered something she might be good at. As she climbed the stairs to the apartment, Lily thought about what Ray had said about his grandfather's nod of approval meaning more than words. She understood that now. The feeling of accomplishment, when the bicycle wheel spun straighter than before, was better than any good job someone could have said to her. Tomorrow couldn't come soon enough. There was so much more to learn, so many questions to ask. For the first time, Lily felt like she was at the beginning of something important, not just getting a broken bicycle fixed. She carefully propped her bicycle against the wall by the apartment, door already planning to oil the chain after dinner just like Ray had shown her. The small bottle in her pocket felt like a promise that she could learn to fix things, to make broken things work again. And somehow, that promise felt bigger than just bicycles. The next day arrived with the same heavy heat as before, but Lily hardly noticed it. She had woken up early, too excited to sleep. Her mom had listened with a tired smile the night before, as Lily described everything she had learned at Wilson's Auto and Bicycle Repair. This Ray sounds like a good man, her mom had said. Make sure you're not bothering him while he's working. He said it was okay, Lily assured her. He's teaching me during his lunch break. Her mom's face had softened then. Well, you be sure to thank him properly. Men like that who take time for kids, they're special. Lily had nodded seriously. She already knew Ray was special. After breakfast, she carefully applied the chain oil just as Ray had shown her, wiping away the excess. With an old rag, the chain already moved more smoothly, with less of the grinding noise it had made before. By 11:30, Lily couldn't wait any longer. She hopped on her bicycle and set off toward the repair shop, taking it slow and careful with the still wobbly wheel. The streets were quiet in the midday heat, most people hiding in the shade or behind air conditioners if they were lucky enough to have them. When she arrived at Wilson's, the large garage doors were open as before, but the shop seemed busier. 2 cars were being worked on, and a customer was talking with Tom near the small office area. Lily hesitated at the entrance, suddenly unsure if she should be there. Just as she was working up the courage to go in, Ray emerged from behind a lifted truck. He spotted her immediately and waved her over. Right on time, he said. Let me just wash up and we can get started on that bicycle. Lily wheeled her bicycle into the shop, feeling more confident than she had the day before. This time she belonged here. Ray had invited her. A minute later, Ray returned, wiping his hands on a clean rag. So, how'd the ride over go? Wheel holding up okay? It's still wobbly, Lily admitted, but way better than yesterday, and I oiled the chain last night just like you showed me. Ray's face broke into an approving smile. Did you now? Let's have a look. He crouched down to inspect the chain, spinning the pedal with his hand. Well done. Just the right amount of oil, too. Not too much, not too little. His praise made Lily stand a little taller. She had done something right, something mechanical and grown up. Today, Ray said, flipping the bicycle upside down again, I thought we might work a bit more on this wheel, and then check out your brakes. Sound good? Lily nodded eagerly. I noticed the brakes feel kind of soft when I squeeze them. Good observation, Ray said. A cyclist needs to trust their brakes. They're what keeps you safe. As they got to work, Lily noticed that Ray didn't just do things for her. He explained why each step mattered and what would happen if it wasn't done right. When they adjusted the wheel again, he showed her how to use the frame as a reference point to check if the wheel was running true. See how there's less wobble now? He asked, spinning the wheel slowly. Yesterday we got it rideable. Today we're making it better. That's often how repairs go, step by step making improvements each time. Tom walked by, carrying a heavy toolbox. He nodded to Lily. Back again, huh? Ray's teaching me about brakes today, she replied confidently. Well, you've got a good teacher, Tom said. Ray here can fix just about anything with wheels. Ray looked slightly embarrassed at the praise. Don't listen to him. There's plenty I'm still figuring out myself. After they finished with the wheel adjustments, Ray showed her the brake system. These are called caliper brakes, he explained. When you squeeze the handle on your handlebars, it pulls this cable, which makes these arms close in and press these rubber pads against the rim of your wheel. That friction is what slows you down. Lily peered at the mechanism, fascinated by how such a simple system could be so important. The problem, Ray continued, is that these brake pads are pretty worn down. They're like the soles of shoes. They wear out over time and need to be replaced. He reached into a drawer and pulled out a small package. Lucky for you, I dug around in our parts bin this morning and found these. They're not new, but they've got plenty of life left in them. How much do they cost? Lily asked hesitantly. Ray waved away the question. These were just sitting in the bin. Consider it part of your education. Before Lily could thank him, he added, but you're going to install them yourself. Her eyes widened. Really? Isn't that hard? It's not the easiest job, Ray admitted, but I think you can handle it. I'll walk you through it step by step. And he did. First, he showed her how to use a wrench to loosen the bolt that held the old brake pad in place. His hands guided hers when the bolt was stubborn, but he let her do as much as she could on her own. Don't force it, he advised when she struggled. If something's not moving, there's usually a reason. Sometimes you need a different angle or a different tool. As they worked, a customer walked in, a tall woman in business clothes. She looked curiously at Lily working on the bicycle while Ray guided her. Be with you in a minute, Mrs. Patel, Ray called over his shoulder. No rush, the woman replied. Looks like you're in the middle of something important. Important. Lily felt a warm glow at the word. What they were doing was important, not just fixing a bicycle, but learning how to fix things. Ray had to step away for a few minutes to talk with Mrs. Patel about her car, but he gave Lily clear instructions about what to do next. Just remove that other brake pad the same way you did the first one. I'll be right back to help with the new ones. Left on her own, Lily worked carefully, applying what she had just learned. By the time Ray returned, she had successfully removed both old brake pads. Look at you, Ray said appreciatively. Making progress without me even looking over your shoulder. The second one was easier than the first, Lily told him. That's how it always goes, Ray nodded. First time you're figuring it out. Second time you're building confidence. Third time it starts to feel natural. As they installed the new brake pads, Ray showed her how to position them correctly so they would hit the rim squarely when the brakes were applied. This is all about alignment, he explained. If these pads hit the tire instead of the rim, they'll wear out your tire. If they're too low, they might not grab well enough to stop you. Lily focused intently on getting the alignment just right, adjusting and readjusting until both she and Ray were satisfied. Now let's adjust the tension on the brake cable, Ray said. Too tight, and your brakes will drag. Too loose, and they won't stop you quickly enough. This was the trickiest part yet, requiring small, precise adjustments. Lily's fingers fumbled a bit with the small parts, but Ray was patient, never taking over even when it might have been faster for him to do it himself. You're not just learning about bicycles, he told her as they worked. You're learning how to solve problems, how to look at something that's not working right, figure out why, and fix it. That's a skill you can use your whole life. When they finally finished, Ray had her flip the bicycle right side up and test the brakes by squeezing the levers. How do they feel? He asked. Lily squeezed them several times. Firmer. They don't go all the way to the handlebars anymore. Exactly. How they should feel. Ray confirmed. Let's take it outside and you can test ride it. In the parking lot, Lily rode a few circles, applying the brakes at different speeds. The bicycle stopped promptly each time with no scary delays like before. This is amazing, she called out. It stops so much better now. Ray watched with his arms crossed, a satisfied expression on his face. You did good work today, both with the wheel and the brakes. As Lily continued riding around the parking lot, enjoying the improvements to her bicycle, Ray checked his watch. I've got to get back to work soon, he said. But there's something else I wanted to show you before you go. He beckoned her to follow him to a corner of the garage where a large red toolbox stood. Opening one of the drawers, he pulled out a small tool that looked like a tiny pump. This is a tire pressure gauge, he explained. Your tires need the right amount of air to ride safely and efficiently. Too little and you work harder to pedal. Too much and you risk a blowout. He demonstrated how to check the pressure in her tires, showing her the numbers on the gauge. See this number printed on the side of your tire? That's the recommended pressure. You want to stay pretty close to that. Lily memorized the number, determined to keep her tires at just the right pressure from now on. Your front tire's a bit low, Ray said. Let's fill it up before you go. He showed her how to use the air compressor, carefully monitoring the pressure as the tire filled. Tomorrow's my day off, Ray mentioned as they finished. But if you want to come back the day after, maybe we could look at your gears. They could use some adjusting too. Really? Lily couldn't believe her luck. That would be great. Just come by around the same time, Ray said. And maybe bring a notebook if you have one. Might be good to write some of this stuff down so you remember it. As Lily prepared to leave, she felt like she needed to say something more than just thank you. What Ray was doing for her meant more than she could express. My mom says you're special, she blurted out, for taking time to teach me stuff. Ray looked surprised, then a bit embarrassed. Well, your mom sounds like a smart lady, but between you and me, I'm enjoying these lessons too. It's nice to pass on what I know. Lily rode home with a new confidence, feeling the solid grip of the brakes and the smoother spin of the wheel with each pedal stroke. She wasn't just riding a bicycle that worked better. She was riding a bicycle that she had helped fix with her own two hands. And that made all the difference in the world. 2 days later, Lily arrived at Wilson's Auto and Bicycle Repair with a small notebook tucked under her arm. She had carefully written down everything she could remember from their previous sessions, notes about wheel truing, brake adjustments, and proper chain maintenance. Her grandmother had found the notebook in a drawer, its pages still blank and waiting for purpose. This time when Lily entered the garage, Ray was already waiting for her, wiping his hands on a shop towel. There she is, he called out, our bicycle mechanic in training. The words made Lily feel 10 feet tall. She was starting to feel like she belonged here among the tools and the smell of oil and rubber. I brought a notebook like you said, she told him, holding it up. Perfect. Ray nodded. A good mechanic keeps records. Memory can play tricks on you, especially when you're learning lots of new things at once. He led her to a quieter corner of the shop where her bicycle was already waiting, propped up on a stand that held it off the ground. What's that? Lily asked, pointing to the stand. Repair stand, Ray explained. Makes it easier to work on a bicycle. The wheels can spin freely, and it's at a better height so we don't have to bend down so much. He showed her how the stand gripped the bicycle frame without damaging it. Today we're going to look at your gears and shifters. They're what lets you change how easy or hard it is to pedal. Lily had always wondered how that worked. She knew that pushing the little levers on her handlebars made pedaling easier or harder, but she had no idea what actually happened to cause that change. Ray pointed to the mechanism near the rear wheel. This is called a derailleur. When you move your shifter, this derailleur guides your chain onto different-sized gears. Small gear means easier pedaling but slower speed. Big gear means harder pedaling but faster speed. He spun the pedals slowly, showing how the chain moved. Your derailleur is a bit out of alignment. See how the chain makes that grinding noise when it's on certain gears? We can fix that with some careful adjustments. As Ray began explaining the process, Tom called out from across the garage. Hey Ray, got a call from the Henderson job. They need to know how long till their truck's ready. Ray looked up. Tell them tomorrow afternoon, barring any surprises. He turned back to Lily. Where were we? Right, derailleur adjustment. Just then, a boy about Lily's age wheeled a bicycle into the shop. He looked uncertainly at the mechanics working on cars before spotting Lily and Ray in the corner. Excuse me? He called out. Do you fix bicycles too? Ray glanced over. We do. What's the problem? The boy, who had curly hair and glasses that kept sliding down his nose, pointed to his bicycle chain. It keeps falling off. Every time I go. Over a bump, it just drops. Ray nodded to Lily. What do you think might cause that problem? Lily felt a moment of panic. She was being asked for her opinion like a real mechanic. She thought about what she'd learned about chains. Maybe the chain is too loose, she suggested hesitantly. Or maybe something's wrong with the derailleur. Ray smiled approvingly. Good thinking. Could be either of those. Let's take a look. To Lily's surprise, Ray waved the boy over to join them. Bring your bicycle over here. I'm Ray and this is Lily. She's learning bicycle repair too. The boy wheeled his bicycle over, looking curiously at Lily. I'm David. You work here? I'm learning, Lily said, standing a little straighter. Ray's teaching me. Ray positioned David's bicycle next to Lily's. Let's make this a group lesson. David, you can learn along with Lily today if you want to. Stick around. David's face lit up. Really, that would be awesome. For the next half hour, Ray guided both children through an examination of their bicycle's gear systems. He showed them how to check for chain tension, how to identify when a derailleur was bent, and how to make basic adjustments. In David's case, Ray explained, the derailleur hanger, this part here, is slightly bent, probably from dropping the bicycle or maybe a fall. That's why the chain keeps jumping off. He demonstrated how to carefully bend it back into proper alignment using a special tool. This isn't something you should try at home without the right tools, he warned. But it's good to understand what's happening. For Lily's bicycle, the problem was simpler. The cable that connected her shifter to the derailleur needed adjustment. Ray showed her how to use a small barrel adjuster to increase or decrease the tension. Try shifting through all your gears now, he instructed after they had made the adjustment. Lily clicked through the gears, watching as the chain moved smoothly from one sprocket to another. The grinding noise was gone, replaced by a clean, precise, shifting action. It's perfect, she exclaimed. David tried his bicycle next, cautiously at first, then with growing confidence as he realized the chain was staying in place. This is so much better, he said. My dad tried to fix it but couldn't figure out what was wrong. Sometimes you need the right tools and know-how, Ray said. Nothing to be embarrassed about. As they worked, another child appeared at the garage entrance, a girl a bit younger than Lily with braided hair and bright yellow sneakers. She stood watching them curiously. Can I help you? Tom called out to her. My kickstand fell off, the girl said, pointing to her small purple bicycle. Do you fix kickstands? Before Tom could answer, Ray looked over. We're doing a little bicycle repair clinic over here. Why don't you join us? The girl, who introduced herself as Zoe, joined their growing circle. Ray showed them how a kickstand attached to the bicycle frame and what kind of bolt was needed to secure it. The threads on your frame are stripped, he explained to Zoe. That means the grooves that the bolt screws into are worn down. We'll need to use a slightly bigger bolt with a spacer. He rummaged in a parts bin and came up with the needed materials. This time he had Lily explain to Zoe how to install the kickstand, gently guiding her when she stumbled over the explanation. Lily felt a surge of pride as she helped Zoe position the kickstand correctly. She was using knowledge that just days ago she hadn't possessed. Word seemed to spread quickly. By the time they finished with Zoe's kickstand, 2 more children had arrived with bicycle problems, a flat tire, and a loose handlebar. Ray looked at the growing group, then at his watch. Well, looks like my lunch break turned into a bicycle repair party. Tom, you mind if I stick with this for a bit longer? Tom waved a hand. We're not busy with cars right now. Have at it. For the next hour, Ray guided the impromptu bicycle repair class, having each child help with the other's problems. He had Lily demonstrate how to check tire pressure using the gauge she had learned about earlier. David got to show the others how to tighten handlebar bolts to the right tension. Not too tight, Ray cautioned. You can strip the threads or crush the handlebars if you overdo it. The children asked questions constantly, their initial shyness forgotten as they worked together. Ray answered each one patiently, often turning the question back to them. What do you think would happen if we left this bolt loose, Whoa? He would ask. Or, why do you suppose bicycles have different sized gears? By encouraging them to think through the problems, he was teaching them more than just mechanical skills. He was teaching them how to solve problems on their own. Lily noticed something else too. Ray seemed to be enjoying himself. His eyes were bright, and he laughed more easily than she had seen before. Teaching them seemed to bring him as much happiness as learning brought them. As the impromptu class was winding down, a woman walked into the garage. She looked around uncertainly until she spotted Zoe with the group. "Zoe, so this is where you disappeared to. I've been looking all over." Zoe looked up, her face lighting up. "Mom, look, they fixed my kickstand. And I helped fix David's chain. And Lily showed me how to check tire pressure." The woman approached the group looking at Ray. "I hope she hasn't been bothering you." "Not at all," Ray assured her. "We've been having an unofficial bicycle repair class. Your daughter's a quick learner." The woman looked at the group of children clustered around the bicycles, tools in hand and expressions of concentration on their faces. Something in her expression softened. "This is wonderful," she said. "Zoe's been wanting to learn more about how her bicycle works. Her father used to teach her, but since the divorce," she trailed off. Ray nodded understandingly. "Well, she's welcome to join us. Seems like we might be making this a regular thing." He glanced at the children, who were all looking at him hopefully. "What do you all think? Should we have a regular bicycle repair session? Maybe Saturday mornings?" The response was immediate and enthusiastic. Even David, who had been the quietest of the group, nodded eagerly. "Let me talk to the shop owner," Ray said. "If he's okay with it, we could do a proper class. Bring your bicycles and we'll learn something new each week." Zoe's mother looked at Ray with gratitude. "That would be amazing. What would you charge for something like that?" Ray seemed surprised by the question. "Charge? I hadn't thought about that. This is just something I enjoy doing." "You should be compensated for your time," she insisted. "Maybe a small fee for each class? I'd be happy to pay." Ray considered. Tell you what, if people want to contribute something for parts and supplies, that would be fine. But the teaching part, that's just me passing on what I know." As the children began to disperse, each with a better functioning bicycle than they had arrived with, Lily stayed behind. She had watched the whole scene unfold with a sense of wonder. What had started as her simple request, "Sir, I don't have a father. Can you guide me fix my bicycle?" had grown into something that might help many children. "Ray," she said as the others left, "thank you for teaching us today. Not just me, but everyone." Ray looked down at her, his expression thoughtful. "You know, Lily, you started something here, something good. If this Saturday class happens, it'll be because you had the courage to ask for help that first day." Lily hadn't thought of it that way. She had just wanted her bicycle fixed. But now, seeing how much joy the afternoon had brought to everyone, she felt like maybe she had done something important after all. "Will you really do the Saturday classes?" she asked. Ray nodded slowly. "I think I will. There's clearly a need for it, and honestly, this is the most fun I've had at work in a long time." As Lily prepared to ride home on her now smoothly shifting bicycle, she felt like she was part of something bigger than herself. She had come looking for someone to fix her bicycle, but she had found a community instead, and that was worth far more than any bicycle repair could ever be. 3 months had passed since Lily first pushed her broken bicycle into Wilson's Auto and Bicycle Repair. Summer had faded into fall, bringing cooler days and leaves that crunched under bicycle tires. The Saturday morning bicycle repair classes had become a fixture in the community, growing from the original 5 children to over a dozen regular attendees. Ray had cleared a special area in the corner of the garage for the classes, setting up 3 repair stands and organizing tools in rolling carts that could be easily accessed. The shop owner, Mr. Wilson himself, had been skeptical at first but quickly came around when he saw how the classes brought new customers to the shop. Parents would drop off their children for the bicycle lessons and often end up scheduling car maintenance while they were there. But more importantly, the classes had created something special in the community, a place where children could learn practical skills, gain confidence, and feel a sense of belonging. Lily arrived early this particular Saturday morning, as she always did, she had become Ray's unofficial assistant, helping to set up before the others arrived and often demonstrating techniques to the newer kids. Her bicycle gleamed now, every part clean and properly adjusted. She had even added a few personal touches, a new bell, a water bottle holder, and reflective tape on the frame for safety when riding at dusk. "Morning, Ray," she called out as she wheeled her bicycle into the shop. Ray looked up from where he was arranging tools for the day's lesson. "Morning, Lily. Ready for today? We're covering headsets and bearings." Lily nodded eagerly. She had been looking forward to this lesson. The headset, the part that allowed the handlebars to turn smoothly, was one of the few bicycle components she hadn't yet learned to service. "I brought muffins," she said, placing a paper bag on the workbench. "My grandma made them last night." Ray smiled. "Your grandma's muffins have become the best part of my Saturday mornings. Don't tell the other kids I said that." As they set up for the class, Lily noticed a stack of papers on Ray's desk that hadn't been there the week before. "What are those?" she asked curiously. Ray followed her gaze. "Oh, those? Just some information I've been collecting." He hesitated, then added, "Actually, it's about a scholarship program at the community college. They have a youth mechanics course that starts next summer, for kids interested in learning more about bicycle and basic auto repair." Lily's eyes widened. "A real course? At the college?" "Yep, 2 weeks, 3 hours a day. They provide all the tools and materials." Ray shuffled the papers, looking slightly embarrassed. "I thought maybe some of the kids from our class might be interested, especially you." "Me?" Lily's voice came out as a squeak. "You've got a natural talent for this," Ray said simply. "You understand not just how to follow instructions, but why things work the way they do. That's rare, especially in someone your age." Lily felt her cheeks grow warm at the praise. "Do you think I could really do it?" "I know you could." In fact, Ray was interrupted by the arrival of David and 2 other regular students. "We'll talk about this more later," he promised. The shop gradually filled with children and their bicycles. Some came with specific problems to fix, while others simply wanted to learn the day's lesson. Parents dropped off younger kids, while the older ones arrived on their own. Ray had established a few simple rules for the class: safety first, respect the tools, and everyone helps everyone else, and the children followed them without complaint. Today's lesson was more complex than usual. Ray had brought in an old bicycle frame and removed the fork, the part that held the front wheel and connected to the handlebars, to show how the headset bearings worked. "These tiny steel balls are what allow your handlebars to turn smoothly," he explained, holding up a small bearing for everyone to see. "They sit in these rings called races, and the whole assembly needs to be properly adjusted, not too tight, not too loose." The children crowded around, fascinated by the small parts that had such an important job. Ray demonstrated how to disassemble, clean, grease, and reassemble a headset, explaining each step clearly. "This isn't something you'll need to do often," he told them. "But when your handlebars start feeling rough when you turn them, or if you hear a grinding noise when you steer, this might be the culprit." As the class progressed, Lily noticed a woman standing near the entrance to the garage watching them intently. She was well dressed in a suit and carried a leather folder under her arm. She wasn't a regular parent, and she seemed to be taking notes as she observed the class. Ray noticed her too, but continued with his lesson, showing the children how to adjust the bearing preload with a wrench. "Too tight, and your handlebars won't turn freely," he explained. "Too loose, and you'll feel a clunking sensation when you ride over bumps. You're looking for that sweet spot in between." After the main demonstration, the children broke into smaller groups to practice what they had learned on their own bicycles. With Ray moving from group to offer guidance, Lily helped some of the newer students, patiently explaining concepts she had mastered weeks ago. As the class began to wind down, the woman who had been watching approached Ray. Lily couldn't hear what they were saying, but she saw Ray looking surprised, then thoughtful. They talked for several minutes, with Ray occasionally gesturing toward the children working on their bicycles. When the woman left, handing Ray what looked like a business card, the children were starting to pack up their tools and prepare to leave. Ray gathered them together for his usual end-of-class summary. Good work today, everyone. Remember, headset adjustments are precision work. If you're not sure, it's better to leave it a tiny bit loose than too tight, and always double-check your work before riding. As the children dispersed, several parents who had come to pick up their kids approached Ray. Lily noticed that they seemed to be thanking him, with several handshakes and pats on the back. One mother was particularly emotional, wiping away tears as she spoke to him. When everyone else had left, Lily helped Ray clean up the work area, washing grease from tools and organizing them back in their proper places. They worked in comfortable silence for a while before Lily's curiosity got the better of her. "Who was that woman watching our class?" she asked. Ray seemed to consider his answer carefully. "Her name is Ms. Rivera. She works for the city's youth development office. Apparently someone told her about our Saturday classes and she came to see for herself." "Is that good or bad?" Lily asked, suddenly worried that they might be in trouble somehow. Ray smiled reassuringly. "Good, I think. She was very impressed with what we're doing here. She said programs like this are exactly what the city wants to support." "Support how?" "Well, that's the interesting part." Ray set down the tools he was cleaning and turned to face Lily directly. "She asked if I'd be interested in expanding this into a proper program, with funding for tools, parts, maybe even a dedicated space somewhere." Lily's eyes widened. "Like a real bicycle shop just for kids?" "Something like that. A place where young people could learn mechanical skills, work on their own bicycles, maybe even earn one by helping fix up donated bikes." Ray's eyes had a faraway look. She called it community-based practical education. "That sounds amazing," Lily exclaimed. "Are you going to do it?" Ray rubbed the back of his neck. "It's a big commitment. I'd have to cut back my hours here at Wilson's. Might mean less income, at least at first." "But you'd be teaching more kids," Lily pointed out. "Like you taught me." Ray nodded slowly. "That's true. And honestly, these Saturday classes have become the highlight of my week." He glanced at Lily. "I've been thinking a lot lately about what matters most. Fixing cars pays the bills, but teaching you kids, seeing that moment when something clicks and you understand how things work, that's something special." Lily thought about how much she had learned from Ray over the past 3 months. Not just about bicycles, but about problem solving, patience, and the satisfaction of fixing something with her own hands. "You know," Ray continued, "that day you walked in here asking if I could show you how to fix your bicycle. That changed things for me too. I'd been just going through the motions for a while, fixing cars, going home, coming back the next day. But teaching you reminded me why I got into this work in the first place." He picked up a wrench, turning it over in his hands thoughtfully. "My grandfather didn't just teach me mechanics. He taught me that knowing how to fix things gives you independence. It means you don't have to rely on others when something breaks. That's a powerful gift to give someone." Lily understood exactly what he meant. Before meeting Ray, a broken bicycle had seemed like an insurmountable problem. Now it was just a puzzle to solve, a challenge she had the skills to overcome. "So," Ray said, putting the wrench back in its place, "I think I might take Ms. Rivera up on her offer. See where it leads." "I think you should," Lily said firmly. "You're a really good teacher, Ray." "And you," Ray replied with a smile, "are a really good student." Which brings me back to that community college program. The application deadline is next week. With your mom's permission, I'd like to recommend you for it. Lily felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Do you really think I'm ready for something like that?" "More than ready," Ray assured her. "In fact, I've talked to the instructor who runs it. Showed him some pictures of the work you've done here. He's impressed." The idea that an actual college instructor would be impressed with her work made Lily stand a little taller. "The scholarship would cover all the costs," Ray continued, "and it could be just the beginning. There are apprenticeship programs, technical, schools. Lots of paths if you're interested in pursuing this kind of work." For the first time, Lily saw a possible future she had never considered before. One where the skills she had been learning might lead to something more than just maintaining her own bicycle. "I'd like to apply," she said decisively. "I'll talk to my mom tonight." Ray nodded, looking pleased. Good. And whatever happens with that, you'll always have a place here on Saturdays. In fact, I was thinking you might start leading some of the basic lessons soon. Teaching others is the best way to really master something yourself. The thought of standing in front of the class, teaching other kids what she had learned, was both terrifying and thrilling. But Lily knew she could do it. Ray had shown her that she was capable of more than she had ever imagined. As they finished cleaning up, Lily's mom arrived to pick her up. She had started coming to the end of the Saturday classes recently, interested in what her daughter was learning. "How was class today?" she asked, looking between Lily and Ray. "It was great," Lily replied. "We learned about headsets and bearings, and Ray has something to ask you about a program at the community college." While Ray explained the scholarship opportunity to her mother, Lily looked around the garage that had become like a second home to her. The tools that had once seemed mysterious were now familiar friends. The process of diagnosis and repair that had once seemed like magic was now a logical series of steps she understood. 3 months ago, she had walked in here with a broken bicycle and a simple question. She had found not just repairs, but a mentor, a community, and a newfound confidence in her own abilities. As she listened to her mother and Ray discussing the community college program, Lily ran her hand along the handlebars of her bicycle. It was the same bicycle she had pushed in that first day, but now it shone with care and proper maintenance. And she was the same girl, but different too. Stronger, more capable, more sure of herself. Whatever came next, the college program, helping with Ray's new youth center, or simply continuing to learn and grow, Lily knew one thing for certain: she would never again be afraid to ask for help or to offer it. That was perhaps the most valuable lesson of all. "So," her mother was saying to Ray, "this program starts next summer?" "Late June," Ray confirmed. "Just after the school year ends." "Well," her mother smiled, looking at Lily's hopeful face. "I think it sounds wonderful. If Lily wants to apply, she has my full support." The three of them stood together in the quiet garage, surrounded by tools and the lingering smell of grease and metal. To anyone passing by, it might have looked like an ordinary scene: a mechanic, a mother, and a young girl with her bicycle. But Lily knew it was much more than that. It was the beginning of something important, something that had started with a broken bicycle and a simple question, and had grown into something that might just change lives. Hers, and maybe many others too. And that made all the difference in the world.